Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Breakfast with Bobby. I am one of your two co-hosts, Christina. I'm here with my friend Bobby. And before we get going with introducing our new guest, I would just like to remind everyone to hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, share with your friends, make a donation, whatever. Just keep us out there in the real world so that we can continue to do what we love to do. Thank you. Bobby, would you like to
Yes.
introduce Geoff?
So we have a really special guest today. And you know what? I say that every time that we have a guest. So you're all really special, just so you know. Um, I I met Geoff about a year and a half ago or so. And the way that we met was you all know that I dabble in the stock market and stuff. And I had subscribed to a very inexpensive month-long package. And it was kind of a dummy sort of thing not to do it. And all of a sudden, one day I get this phone call and he says, "Hi, this is Geoff from Acorn Wealth." And I'm like, "Who?" And he said, "Well, I'm going to talk about your subscription." I went, What subscription?" And he starts to elaborate on that. And I went, "I've been doing this for several years and I've subscribed to several companies doing this. You are the only person that has ever called me." And so we launched into this discussion. That's just the prelude. And on one of our discussions, he says to me, "So how do you pick stocks?" And I said, "Well, sometimes I just feel it." And he said, "So are you intuitive?" And I said, "Yeah, I sometimes I am." And there it went. And so this is how our relationship went. And now Geoff is on our show. But prior to that, he invited me to be on his show on the plant medicine, Spotify, whatever.
The
I'm still
parables of plant medicine, Bobby, and I loved having you on the show because we came to a point in our relationship where I understood why we had such a strong connection that seemed extraordinary. And it was because, and I hope it's okay for this to say that I'm adopted into this family. I lost my father. My mom lost the love of her life about 18 months after I was born. And you lost your mother later on as a younger child as well. And there was a moment there I remember when we were just doing stock stuff and talking, and I'm like, "What did you just feel that?" And, like a weirdo, and you're like, I said, "You just pulled a sadness out of me that I'd never experienced before." And you're like, "Yeah," and then I didn't figure out what that was until we were talking on our podcast, the parables of plant medicine, to do a plug on it. And I don't remember what episode, but you just said look for the parables of Bobby, and go take a look at it if you want. And it was interesting because we did that episode during a blue moon, and or we met on a blue moon. I can't remember what it was, but I was like,
yeah.
once in a blue moon, you meet someone like this. And so I'm so happy to be on yours and Christina's podcast. I am absolutely grateful. And you two are absolutely part of the magic and the growth in the future that is to be. And this edgy stuff that we're doing will soon be so common that it'll get boring. Probably not. But
Oh,
just
Well, thank
really
you.
happy to be here. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being with us today. I know, like Bobby sent me a whole list, so I am just going to leave it up to you, Geoff. What do you feel needs to come forward today?
Wow.
oh God, we
Uh,
probably shouldn't have asked that.
I
There's not
probably
enough
shouldn't
time.
have. Could go on a lot longer than our allotted
Oh,
time, but you know.
Define come forward. Sorry, that's just um it's interesting. I think that when I think about my life and things that people need to hear from me, I have to ask questions and figure out what they really need because my mind is way different than most people's, and I honestly believe that most people's minds are way different than others. And so, getting a definition as to what do we need to do is really the conversation based. What do we do? I mean, to give you a little bit, I could talk about the weird things that happened to me in 2019 and 2020. I could talk to you about an alien showing up in my leather chair after in the middle of a healing code exercise at 5 in the morning. I could talk to you about opening a portal in my kitchen to another universe with my girlfriend, shared experience, running across the thing, going screaming, "Ah!" and hearing a voice come out. They go, "Ha ha ha, you lit my fire." I could talk about being in a teepee and seeing a tiger, and the tiger saying, "What are you gonna do?" And then I asked back, What are you gonna do?" And me going to the medicine man after and asking, "Hey, this was in Canada. this is the vision I had. And the medicine man going, oh, Geoff, that's a really good vision. But I have no idea what it means. A tiger's not a native animal, and walked away. It started laughing. And I was like, oh, we're all just on this spiritual journey. And
Yeah.
guides are important, but it's our own path. And we can hold each other's hands at some parts of it, and then we have to let go. And then maybe we see each other, hold each other's hands again on the path. But
So you were talking about plant medicine experiences there, correct? Or not?
the keepy was before I was into plant medicine. The alien and the portal were under the influence of light golden
Mushroom.
teacher psilocybin mushrooms, so plant
Okay.
medicine, and yeah, and that night was just ridiculous. And but what's crazy is those secret weird things, right? Like in 2019, and I think you. So if you guys want to hear on the podcast about the portal experience, it's kind of a long one to talk about. Um,
You can give the address or in on Spotify and they can listen to
it's
it
just
if you
parables of plant medicine on Spotify. There's no real address to it, and then you can search for if you want to hear that one because it's so strange that if I was alone and opened a portal in my kitchen, people would have been like, "You know, the street jacket needs to be tighter," right? Like, and so because you have a shared experience, that's what really starts to make me interested. Why I wrote the book, Evolve the Parables of Plant Medicine, because I was like, okay, either I'm going nuts and I'm on my way to the padded room, or there's other people out there that have had experiences like this, and there's a tribe I need to connect with, and
we're right
you,
here. Your
I
tribe.
hear you. I hear you. And
Yeah.
so I started to realize that other people have had shared spiritual experiences. And that is confirmation to me, not me in my head. I'm an only child with an incredible imagination. So I can actually make things happen sometimes and remember things that didn't happen. I'm like, wait a minute. Was this a memory? Is this something I wanted to create a manifestation? Or is this actual real shared or spiritual experiences? And the only time I can actually figure it out is if someone else sees it or I get this weird shiver.
So
And I
when
go,
when
whoa.
you and I talked one of the first times, you mentioned to me that you wrote a book. And I went out and purchased the book right away and started reading it. And I was very taken with your story, which is one of the reasons
Mm,
why I felt closer to you. Really, oh, your description of how you grew up and your friends and all of that, I just really resonated with that. So that being said, maybe you want to elaborate a little on that.
yeah, it's available on Amazon. I think it's only like $6. I'm probably gonna pull it off there because
That's
it's
all right.
I wrote it for myself. Um, and I had a book coach, Pia. Pia is incredible book coach. And I everybody has a book in them,
Yeah.
and so few of us finish it. And it took so I hired her to say, listen, all I have to do is I have to get this book out. This is important. And as you know, as you read the book, the first part is spiritual experiences in my life or experiences in my life that were really interesting, whether it be spiritual or not. I mean, I guess I won't do it, but I want to talk a little about Africa, but that's sort of like that secret, like what? When you read that chapter, you're like the face of evil and actually seeing about Mike, dog. And so yeah, it was interesting. And I think that that's an important thing to do now. We need to there are certain things that sit at the back of our mind that we get distracted that we're not supposed to, that we think that we want to do, but we never get to. And everybody's a coach now everywhere. And so there are book coaches, there are spiritual coaches, there are whatever coaches you want to. But with work ethic and with proper people in your life and with somebody that won't let you go, for me anyway, it allowed me to finish the parables of plant medicine. And so that spawned off into the parables of plant medicine. So Evolve is the name of the book, Evolve, the parables of plant medicine. And then the podcast spun after that because I was like, I just can't do the book. I got to go find it. And then start talking to people, really focusing on shared experiences under plant medicines or under that because um, they seem to really be not necessarily a doorway, but a put her on or take her off of glasses. You actually see a deeper level of reality or truth that is so much more powerful than the reality of elections, weather problems, um, pineapple t-shirts, anything that's going on that we have to focus on. And the one thing that I encourage everyone to look at, and what I see all the time, is the synchronicities are so complete now. And all you have to do is stop being so narrow in your vision and go a little wider. And you'll see that almost everything is synchronous. From conversation I need to have with my poor mom to TV shows like what I'm watching on The Last of Us, and it's a gay couple, they're a lifetime, and how they meet, and how he decides to die, and I'm just sitting there, tears streaming down my eyes, going, "Oh yeah, I guess this is something I got to see before my mom, who's 82, in the winter of her life, passes." And not only that, but people you meet, especially in a small town, at certain times, the synchronicities are the power of now. This will help you find your path. The moments that you see, you go, "Oh, that's interesting." Be very, very curious of the coincidences that happen in your life. They are there for a reason, and they're your spiritual guides edging you along. And as a warning, if you do not pay attention to if you're not conscious of the coincidences, because we are all on a spiritual path, I have a thought, and someone, Matthias, I think said this, and I think he said, listen, if you stop listening to the whispers of your angels, they will talk to your demons and they'll make something bad happen. So you're going to have to sit down on your back for 8 months because you broke your back until you hear the message you need to hear. So
That's
it
really
was very
profound.
interesting. Yeah. So it's not just, oh yeah, push me along. It's no, do it, or we're going to make something bad. So you have to sit there and think about it. And so that gave me shivers. So yeah,
So
that
I don't
is
I don't
the
think that
message.
I mentioned to people that, first of all, you are in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
You left Canada to go live in Costa Rica because you felt something spiritual was going on and you needed to be there, correct?
Yeah, and the most spiritual thing is my mom, to be honest. That's why I'm here, and I could tell she was getting rid of dementia. But I've been coming for 15 years at Christmases, and depending on what I was doing as work, I'd stay for a week to a month, and then I came during COVID. I battled everything to get here during COVID, and I spent 9 months here during COVID, and I started saying, "Oh, she's just her and her little dog happy," and uh, and I just started going, "Oh my God." There's a lot of things that she never would ask for help for that I needed to do. So we built a second floor and built a septic field.
Oh,
We replaced all the air conditioners, cleaned it up, and got her to a level of normalcy. And then when COVID started to hit, um, a lot of strange things. Sorry, a lot of very interesting, unusual, and fantastic things started to happen to me. And when I came back to Vancouver, my house felt suffocating. I felt like I couldn't be here anymore. And so I spent 2 months in Calgary at John's place, my boss, the great CEO, John Seville. And there, and then I came back for 4 months in Vancouver. And that's when I was like, no, there's something there. Plus, your mom's in the winter of her life. If you don't go now, it'll be harder.
mm,
And if I hadn't have been here 2 years before the major stroke, like she can move around and she can do the laundry and the dishes in the machines and that kind of stuff. But she's lost her ability to speak. And we got her on medication. She's doing better and better every day. But to be pushed into that situation without knowing her routines was a gift from God to be pulled into it instead of pushed, right? I was here. I know what she wants. It usually just beer, smokes, or food, which is great. But it's if I hadn't
like
been
all
there,
of us. That's all we really want.
um, but yeah, but the depth of spiritual humanity really starts to go when you start realizing that people always say, "Oh, hey, do it today because you never know when you're not going to be here." And we always think that death is going to be this immediate thing and then we're going to be done. But a lot of times it's not. And we in our society, I think, Canadian, American, we don't spend enough time. We put old people in old folks' homes. They don't do that in Costa Rica. They kind of sort of take care of them. In China, they don't really do that. And so you get to see the completeness of life, and it allows you to appreciate some things. The difficult thing that I see is my mom in no way, shape, or form ever thinks she'd lose her ability to speak, because she's a very powerful alpha female. And to see that loss, it reminds you to appreciate all the tools that you have at your disposal. Your voice, the things that we take for granted will one day be gone. Maybe not an instant, but maybe gradually, right? And so how does the best way to appreciate what we have now? To listen to the angels and do the things that we are not, that we know we should be doing that we haven't done yet, because one day we won't be able to. My mom woke up one day and wasn't able to finish a sentence. She never thought that was going to happen. So spiritually, hopefully we'll get her back there, but my telepathic abilities, basically I can just stare at her and I can figure out what she's saying, as long as I'm not,
that's helpful.
as long as I'm calm.
As long as you're calm. Yeah.
It's a hard time to get me a calm moment, but yeah. So Costa Rica, and then since I've been coming for so long, beautiful people out here, incredible places. This place is big for plant medicine and healing. It's also big on the other side. Lots of drug cartels, prostitution's legal. So you have like this. You have the whole gamut of yin yang. Sort of here. You have the good, the shadow, and you have also the light, all existing in one. And that's one of the most beautiful things about Costa Rica. It feels like the Wild West every time you go out, in a way where I still believe I'm the hero anyway of the story. And I know that we aren't alone in that. But I will never, I may leave Costa Rica if only to travel to see friends after mom passes. But I encourage everybody to come to places like Samara, Nosara. Coco is like a funny little town. It's a town of 5,000 that gets up to about 15,000 in the tourist season. And it's what the motto of this town is. It's a drinking town with a fishing problem. So it's not necessarily where we might start. But Nosara and Samara here are incredible places. The jungle smells different. There's a part of the jungle in Samara that smells like cedar burning in a firewood, and you're just like, you stop. You're like, what? Stop the car. What is happening? And it's a plant, that flower that smells like burning cedar wood. It's unbelievable. So if you've ever been to places like Australia, waterlogged by the ecosystem is so different. Koalas, kangaroos, the plants are weird. Like it's like another planet. Costa Rica, in some places, is very much that way too, especially down in the south and up in the mountains. So come visit.
I plan on doing that sometime.
Everything is on my list. I'm telling you, world travel is definitely on my list.
Though I've watched you on Facebook. Obviously, we've been friends for quite a while. And then you pick up a little scorpion and you found it in the middle of your towel. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't. I'm okay right here in little old Wisconsin with all the snow and cold. I'm okay with this.
Me too. You can keep the scorpions. Thank you.
Oh, in your house like spiders. I'm not a spider person either. I don't like that. What happens when you get stung?
Yeah, great point. So the first time I got stung was this year, and it doesn't. I think I'm different than most, but
well, that's true. But
basically, I was at the gym, and I was complaining about all these things going wrong to one of my trainers, Mario, great guy. And I'm sitting there, he's sitting there doing, I'm bugging him, and I'm like, oh, and I said, I don't know if I can fix my phone. And I went into my, it looks like women would call it a purse, men call it a satchel.
We call it merces. It's a merce.
There you go,
it's a male purse.
So I have one, and I had it in the corner of my room for months and did nothing to it. And so I put my hand in to grab my phone, and I'm like, oh, and it feels like a razor blade has cut my finger. And I'm like, what? There's no razor blade in here. And I look at my article scorpion, and he goes, turn it over. You turn it over, and we see the scorpion run up, just bang, get it, and then take a picture of it. And then I look at my finger, and he's like, dude, you should go get the shot, because the smaller the scorpion, the younger it is, and the younger it is, the more scared it is when you touch it. And so the young scorpions, when they hit you with their venom, it's terrible, because they show all of it like they're going to die. And so you can really have a bad reaction. The bigger ones, which of course are more horrifying, because what is that with the little ones? But to the big ones are less. And this was about mid-range. And yeah, I didn't have any reaction to it.
What about most people?
My finger got sore for a while. I don't know. Some people get allergic to it. Some people need a shot. You know,
Like an
I'm also
EpiPen, or what is this?
no,
Okay.
no. I think it's just like, I don't know, like Claritin. I don't know. It'd be.
Okay.
I don't think it's.
Okay.
I think it's just. Yeah, I don't think it's.
Benadryl?
Yeah, something like that.
Diphenhydramine? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm telling you right now, with all the horrors that live in the jungle, there is far more things to love about it than not. And yeah, I'm not a fan of scorpions, snakes, alligators, crocodiles. But the point is that
Well, you're in the right place.
yeah, but well, not a fan. And the point is, it doesn't. I don't know. I mean, going back to Christina's point about world travel,
Hmm.
and understanding this, we can get stuck in our ways. I wasn't, scorpions, spiders, whatever, by not going out there. I lived in Africa when I was a kid for a year when I was in grade 5. I spoke Mandinka and Wolof. I went to an international school because my mom had left Canada, couldn't get a job as a nurse, so she was working with a group called Canadian CUSO, Canadian University Students Overseas. And so, like, I got kind of pulled out of school and put into a new school for 1 year. And all my friends were black, and all my friends were, no, sorry, I had one British friend, 2 British friends, everyone else was black. Almost everybody was Muslim. And I just learned their customs and sort of reacted. And as a kid, the width of your experience of how different cultures are in the world, because you're not just going on tour, you're not just being a tourist, you actually sit and experience, and a lot of mistakes get made. For example, the men hold hands a lot, and I'm in grade 5, and even in grade 5, like one of my classmates sitting at a table grabbed my hand, hold my hand, say it's okay. I'd be like smashing it against the ground, thinking it was what, like, don't do that. That's not what men do. Like, it's ridiculous, right? The women walk 10 paces behind the men. The men will hold hands. Like, what? No one talks about that. Sharia law was enforced when I was there. I was walking with my Salman, my friend, and we had tie-dye international school outfits. Like, I went to an international school. We had blue and white tie-dye outfits, and we looked fantastic. My mom always tells the story about how much I cried when she threw out that outfit. I think it was last year. And but here's like the difference in the culture, right? We're walking home from work today, and all of a sudden the bus she goes like this, and this guy runs up, and all these people run after him, and I'm like, what's going on? And Salman turns to me and says, you stay here, I'll go check it out, I'll come right back. And he runs back, and he comes back white as a ghost, and I'm like, what happened? And he said, and I'm like, what happened? And he said, this man, he stole the woman's purse and they cut off his hand. And I'm like, or they were going to, like, I don't know, but he was white as a ghost. And so you start to question everything you've known about the world, seeing those type of things. And not in a bad way, but in a way hey, why did that happen? Why does this happen? Let me understand, because I can't impose my view of the world on you. I'm living in your society. Tell me what's going on. And if you have that desire and curiosity to understand, we will be able to communicate better, not just with new forces that enter our lives, whether they be spirits, aliens, or animals, but with people in general. And that is, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by that? when you say you love me, what does love mean to you, right? And that type of conversation. Um, the world is spinning so fast. We try to get so many things done that what ends up happening is we lose the richness of, or we lose the exact meaning of what we're doing because we don't ask enough questions. And when you travel, that's when you do it. So yes, please get to traveling and do something where you go sit in the people's, like, there'll be like little restaurants that'll be off to the side that aren't your touristy restaurants that families are running. And you
Hmm.
get to sit with them and try to speak the language. I'm getting, my Spanish is starting to finally get better, thank you to Duolingo and go into the store every day and just practicing. But
Do they
yeah.
speak English there a lot or mostly Spanish?
So yes and no. Like my experience is I have 7 minutes out of a town of 5,000. So the answer to that is yes-ish. Um, the everything costs me 20% more when I don't speak Spanish.
Got it.
So
Okay.
there's a different reason just to learn the language, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Gringos pay more, and you should, like, just the difference between buenos dias, buenas tardes, and buenas noches, right? Not saying buena dia, happy the morning, during the afternoon, then they immediately you can see them light up, like, oh, this guy knows. It's strange, but um, it's important, and learning a language in the culture is like trying to figure out how best to love somebody, or how best to communicate with somebody, or how best to understand them. What are you going through? How can I help? Right? And and so as we better our communication with others, we better our lives.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I spend a lot of time talking to people from all over the world. So,
Christina,
unfortunately, I seem to have difficulty learning anything outside of English, and I've got a degree in English, and I don't even speak that correctly. So, it's
I
I
love it.
I try, but I don't always get it, So even if I'm trying to speak like a little bit of Spanish or a little bit of German or whatever, I rarely do it correctly, so it's pretty obvious that I'm a novice at it.
so
Yeah, but
so
just
you
the
pay
fact that
more
you
for all your
try.
stuff.
Yeah. But just the fact that you try is meaningful, because if you
Yeah.
try once and you try again, you do get better. Success is failure is success in disguise. You just keep trying stuff until you get it right,
Right,
Most
and
right.
of the
changing the
time,
approach.
you will find people that are gracious enough to teach you or tell you the right way to do it.
Hmm.
Um, and
Yeah,
that's always a benefit.
one of my dear friends, Aaron Batista, is one of the prime principals of USHorseRacing.com, major gambling sites. Been doing it for years. He said, and his Spanish is fluent. He lives in Santa Ana. I haven't seen him in a long time. He's very busy. But he and I met him in Vancouver as well. And he was like, "Dude, you want to learn Spanish? Date a Tico, date a Costa Rican girl that can't speak English. You'll learn faster than you'll ever." And they said that's how I learned.
Hmm.
And we employ we have a girl here, Michelle, Danny Michelle, who takes a little bit of care of mom and does cleaning around the house and all that other stuff. And she's just multi-talented. And I always try to speak Spanish to her all the time. And then anytime I go buy something in a store where everybody knows English, you just try to speak the language, because um, they say that when you learn a language or you play a musical instrument, it does things to different parts of your brain, and you
Hmm.
immediately become smarter in other ways. And
Right.
so I could really use a lot more of that.
So could I.
I'm right there. Yeah. It operates the other side of your brain when you do music and stuff, your creative
Right,
senses.
right.
I was going
Yeah,
to
I used
ask
to be quite a singer, didn't you, Bobby? Did you want to sing us a couple bars? Maybe?
a singer. I was a singer in a rock and roll band. Right. No, was, I was, no, I was not a singer. I sang on the White House lawn in our high school choir in 1976 in the year of our Lord.
1976, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I was 4 years old. I remember that. Wow,
You
were you
saw me on,
singing? Were you on TV? Were you singing the national anthem, or?
no, I sang in a high school choir, one of probably 79 other people, and we were invited to sing on the White House lawn for the bicentennial. And
Nice.
so we had to raise money, funds to get there. And as it ended up, we chartered a plane. We all had the same shirts and pants on, so they all knew who we were.
What
And
color? White, blue, red, white,
the
blue?
pants were white and the shirts were blue and red, red, white, and blue. Look at
There
us.
you go.
Yeah.
I know. And periodically we'd be walking around and people would be like, "What, who are you guys? Why are you all dressed the same? Oh my God."
Where are your parents?
Exactly. What is wrong with this
80,
picture?
80 kids is horrifying. Let me talk to somebody.
And there's only one teacher? There's something wrong here.
Wow.
So periodically people would ask and say, "Well, sing us a song then." And so he would assemble us. I sang at the Lincoln Memorial and various other places outside of the White House lawn as well. So yeah, that's my
Awesome.
big claim to fame,
I love it. I
that
love it.
and the time I was on a race car crew, the first girl on a pit crew. But this show is really not about me. It's about you.
I have to say, I'm pretty impressed by the pit crew thing. I always have been. Like ever since the first time I heard that story years ago, I've been impressed by that because I'm much more impressed by a specific skill that a lot of people don't have, where a lot of people can sing. You know what I mean? Although the trip was cool, and I
Yeah.
love your story about it, but I was very impressed by the fact that you could do mechanics on a race car at lightning speed under pressure.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I was on the gas crew and my job was to catch the overflow of gas so that there was no fire started.
That's an
And
important
then I'd,
job. I'm just going to
right, and
say.
then I'd release the car to go back out on the track. So
Yeah.
the guys that were on the pit crew, my husband at the time was actually my boyfriend, and he was on tires, so wrenching, doing all of that. But he was such a great mechanic that he received offers from many um, car owners and stuff to go down south and work on that. And he said, if I would have done that, we probably wouldn't be married. And there goes life. So because being gone all the time and when I was pregnant with both of the boys, I had to call him to come back because he was a construction worker and he was working out of town. So both times I'd say, I think you probably should come home. And so he would drive 100 million miles an hour to get back from an hour and a half from town. And it's an interesting, the racing world is very interesting and it's so much more consolidated now. They have to be professional. They have to be able to speak clearly and politely and professionally on camera. Whereas, back in the day, you picked up whoever you could. Hey, can you operate a broom kind of thing? And there was a lot of volunteers. And it was all free stuff. Today, there's no free stuff really, as far as I know. And a lot of the drivers that I worked with and stuff are dead. God rest their soul. They were fabulous people. So, and there's Geoff. I think he's trying to think about something cool to say.
I love it. There's a part of you that is so powerfully masculine because of the work you did with the pickers, and I love it because it's a little bit off-putting. Like when you can jaw with me, like how my best guy friends do. Oh, you're a piece of garbage. You're a piece of garbage too. Like that kind of
Yeah.
thing. You can actually do that, and you're like, well, wait, hold on, wait. Is it? I'm like, should I be offended? And then you're like, no, man. This is the way she can show. And she's like a dude that way, and that is amazing because once you understand that, I'd still would be nervous about going to you, but
Well, it's funny that you say that.
but it's cool, right? Yeah.
I know, Geoff, you and I both have martial arts in common as well. And when I would get out onto the floor and spar with the guys, which, I was most of the time I was the only woman in the class. And I think a lot of times, and quite frankly, I grew up with two brothers and I was number 5 out of 6. So you defended yourself. And when you needed something, you went after it. And if somebody attacked you, you just went at it. There was none of this, I'm going to watch where the punch lands and see where, any of that crap, but the sparring crap. But anyway, the kid that was one of my mentors was the owner's nephew of Cho's Martial Arts. And he taught me a lot of stuff, but there were a lot of times when he would say, Bobby, you scare the shit out of me when you go out onto that floor. God, he said, I'm so afraid of you. And I said, you know why you're afraid of me? Because I'm a woman and you don't want to hurt a woman. So our Grand Master, interestingly, told a story when he was a 7th degree black belt, when he sparred and he would go into competitions. And one time he was in competition with a woman and he ended up losing to the woman. And he said he got off the floor and he cried. And his dad said, why are you crying? And he said, well, because I lost and I didn't want to hurt her. And he said, everything on the floor is fair game. You go out there, you don't think it's a woman, just go out there and you kick their ass. That's the way it goes. So the fact that I'm a woman and I scared the crap out of them, I'm not going to lie. I'm aggressive when I go out there, but I'm not also going to lie and tell you that I won every time because I didn't. So that being said,
I'm just watching Jeff's face.
and as for,
Just gonna take a big breath.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I think the last time I actually sparred a woman was in jiu-jitsu class, and Jacob, my friend Jacob, and I were wrestling and we're doing positions, and we got 3-minute drills, and this new girl with her huge brothers are there, and she said, "Do you want to spar?" And I'm like, "No." But like you're like, okay, and so so I put her in side position on the ground. She's trying to get out, and I'm not doing anything, and like it's kind of awkward because when a man's heart is next to a woman's heart, it's a bit silly, especially when you're pretending to. And she's attractive younger girl, and I'm sitting there, and we had done it. I can't do anything to her. She can't get out, and it's like, hey, thanks, and Jacob was watching the whole time. So you guys dating now or what? And I'm just like, shut up. Like and then I just so it was just like it is a strange thing. And
Because you're in your head. That's why. You're in your head and you let all kinds of body parts and images and stuff get the best of you.
And then her brothers are over there too, and they're dudes, and they're not really paying attention. They're like, I don't really care about but they're just like, but I'm just like this. But just Jacob saying out loud, "So you guys dating now or what?" And I was like, dude, I love that.
Maybe.
It's hilarious. Yeah. Let me ask. Oh, are we dating? Get out of
I don't
here.
know. Let me find out.
No, you couldn't.
right.
You couldn't beat me. I can't date a man who couldn't.
Ooh.
Anyway. So that's interesting.
So, along with your martial arts background, then you were an announcer or something, right? Didn't you MC a lot of shows?
Yeah, for 7 years, I was a regional color commentator for 3 different martial arts events, UMC, MMAs, one, and Age will kill me if I forget that one, the name of it, and then another one. And it was interesting because we all have these little gifts, right? And some may call them spiritual gifts or whatever, that like Christina said, it's something a little bit different that you do in a different place where most of it do, aside from singing. She's talking about you being a pit crew. And I remember I was sitting there and I was watching my coach, AJ Scales, fight another guy. And I talked to him before, and he's like, Regina, Saskatchewan is a small town. It's about 100,000 back when I was there in training. And we're in the Agrodome, Agribition. And my 2 training friends, Dr. Dennis Lawson, who's a psychiatrist in Saskatoon now, and Dr. Daryl Svensson, who is a teacher, one of the schools there, are sitting there, and they're trying to do the commentary. And I go, and AJ says, dude, me and this guy dated the same girl like 3 years ago. And I'm like, what? You guys actually are different dudes. Trevor, I can't remember his name, but Trevor something and AJ. So they're fighting, and I'm like, and so I see this, and I'm looking at them on the side. I'm watching. Fight hasn't really started yet, and I'm looking at them, and they're looking at me, and they just look lost. And I'm like, hey, can I sit down and tell this story about these 2 guys dating the same girl and kind of make it up? And they're like, yeah, dude, we don't know what we're doing at all. Like a psychiatrist and a teacher. And I'm like,
Christina and I do that all the time.
Oh yeah,
right?
every day.
Yeah, yeah.
We're doing it now.
Yep.
See, we're
But
just
that's
hanging
what
out doing what.
33
but that's
episodes of making it up.
you guys are doing a phenomenal job. This is how it should be done. And so I got on there and did it, and they just kept inviting me back. And I had moved to Vancouver, and so they just kept flying me in, and my good friend was in, and we created a lot of momentum with that one. If you ever look at my Facebook, you always have these interesting pictures of me. I met a lot of fighters, had conversations with them. Randy Couture.
You looked a lot younger back then too. I'm just saying.
I was. Um, and we created and when that started to end, it was 7 years of it, we missed it so much that I actually created Kelly, my friend Kelly Larson, I created three YouTube channels. One was called Fighters, Coaches, and Fathers, and because I had access to fighters, I would ask them about their most difficult experiences outside of the ring, because fighters usually have a hard life. There's a reason they're fighting. And it was fascinating. What's the best advice you've ever gotten? That type of thing. Din Thomas's interview, who's commentating on the UFC in the background every time, talked to him forever, and his story about going to jail after beating up his ex-girlfriend's uh, boyfriend on the weekends, going to jail on the weekends, is incredible. And so we get all those. Then we did another one, which was all about called Forte, which is all about fighters and their walkout song. Why did you pick this song? What does it mean to you? Is it motivating? What does it make you think of? I love that one the most because you got into the mind of the fighter and it really engaged with fans because it's music. And then we had another one called before AI came out, it was called MMAI. And we actually took fighters that were fighting and we put them in the Xbox to see if the algorithms work. We'd make the simulation, have them fight, then we talk about what was going to win. And every once in a while, there'd be a weird thing where the program of the Xbox, where you had, for example, Justin Gaethje and Cowboy Cerrone fighting, would actually get the stats almost 100% correct. And you're like, actually, Gaethje's going to win this fight by leg kick every time, and then it happens. Didn't happen very often, but that's the kind of stuff that we did after that, and also inspired the parables of plant medicine, gave us an opportunity to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, martial arts.
What would be your walkout song if you had one?
Oh man,
we are the champions.
I think I like music.
Oh, that's mine. Sorry.
Bit arrogant, no? Bit cocky.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think the way that I view somebody asked, I was in 6 days. I was in Cancun speaking about music won't be my walkout song. And I was sitting in the bar there. I was waiting, I was having a beer, and this guy came over with his kid. His kid's about a year old, and he started banging the tables. And I'm like, I smile at it. I was like, banging back. And so we start doing percussion on the table. And I'm looking pretty country, wearing a hat. I'm wearing a different jacket. I'm like who I look like. I look a bit more country than anything. And this guy goes, I said, hey man, you got to get this kid to drum, man. He's a natural. And he's like, oh, it's good, man. He says, I'm Geoff and Sean, and they're talking to he's a Costa Rican, and he goes, man, it's cool that you see that in my son. I actually see that too. And I'm like, what? He's doing it, right? And he goes, what kind of music you into? And I go, every genre, right? Because I bet you're into country. And I'm like, no, man. Yes, there is some country that I absolutely love now, but I never was like that. But there was great country where I'm just like, oh my God, when it hits my heart, you're just like, what? Like you're what's that song? Was it Luke Combs? My Kind of Crazy, something like that. It's amazing too. So anyway, he's sitting here, and so this is a spontaneous, synchronous moment. He says, actually, I said, I love some country, but who I'm listening to right now is Kamusu Washington. And he goes, Kamusu Washington, are you kidding me? And I'm like, do you know him? And he's like, dude, that's one of my favorite artists. He turns out to be a jazz guy. And he goes off, he buys my beer, and we have this incredible conversation. Just as some of the fighters I talked to about, what would your walkout song be? Some of them waited till the day before they would choose it. And planning's important for certain things, like floods and things, which it stopped raining, so I'm really happy.
Good.
But the spontaneity of the moment and connecting into, you know, the earth and and God and in your heart in the moment should almost have its own music. And so
Yeah.
I kind of want to wait until that's there, right? So the present moment is the only one that we have. There is no past, there is no future. And so that's why when we try to manifest, we have to bring the feeling of what we want to happen to have already happened and that feeling there, because there is no future, there's no past. Yes, there is and there isn't, but it's the only moment we have is the present moment. And so to ask the question about what your walkout song would be would change on day to day, but it would be fantastic. People listen to my Spotify 3000 list and they're like, dude, you
Yeah,
are all over the place and you
you're
are
right.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You've
I'm
sent
all
me a
over
few
the
songs.
place.
I'm like, where did that come from? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I'm kind of
I
all over the place with music too. I could totally get that. Go ahead,
the
Bobby.
the only country song that I really, really like is I got friends in low places.
I have a story about that song. It's the weirdest thing. When my first son was born, he was like this really agitated baby. Like he never slept more than
Mm.
2 hours for the first year and a half. The kid kept me up all the time. The only thing that would get him to settle down was when his dad sang Friends in Low Places to him.
Shut up. Really?
Seriously.
That's
Seriously.
crazy.
I know. We teased him about it later, and he's like, I hate country music. Well, that might be, but that is the only song that calmed you down enough to go to sleep for a couple
Oh my
hours. Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen the guy with the baby who's crying? I think it was on Instagram there for a while, and what ends up happening is the baby's crying and he just ohms. He's like,
Oh, yes.
oh, and the baby
Yeah.
goes right to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if that's kind of things going on here.
Could be.
Want to say hi to my mom? Hey,
Hi,
mom,
Mom.
Yes.
how you doing?
Hi.
Hi,
That's
Mom.
Bobby, and that's Christina.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
All
Are
right.
you guys having a good time?
We are.
Absolutely.
Yes, we sure are, ma.
Oh,
Looks like the rain's stopped, eh?
it looks like it, man. Not rosy.
Her small talk's fantastic, and it's great to get her out. And we got to get her out to see people in it. She can't
I
stand
love
sitting
that.
in. So,
She's
yeah,
so cute. Yeah.
She's adorable.
This is the
she really
second
is.
time now that she's actually talked to me in a year and a half.
That's
All
cool.
of this in a week. Yeah.
Well, we tried. This is my office. She's not supposed to come in here, and so I have to. Like, what are you doing? Like, don't distract me from very important things that I have to do. And you guys make this easy to do, so I'm not missing anything. But yeah, it's she really is my retarded little child right now, and I love her. I like it makes me because it gets dark sometimes, and if you don't see her, if you don't see the lack of ability that she has, because she's such a powerful woman, and she was that I expect her to be that way, and so my frustration happens when she's like, I don't, she's lost her keys and they're gone. I don't know where they are. And so if I'm like, you gotta get like like trying to parent her as she would parent me, well, that doesn't work.
No.
And the other thing is
Right.
she forgets in about 15 minutes. And so if I just see her as my adorable little child, she actually behaves better than if I react, do this. She's like, I can't, right? So yeah, I'm learning so much, and I'm
This is
learning how
good for
to,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is the hardest thing I've ever done, and it is the most rewarding, and it allows me to be even more grateful and appreciate where I am, what I have, and it keeps me focused on what's important. And I think that I've been blessed. And as you know, Bobby, and I know Christina's, I'm adopted into the family.
Okay.
I was born 2 pounds 2 ounces. I was premature. Um, One of the crazy things I told you this, Bobby, but this year I was having a conversation which I consider with Jody Cool, who I consider my soul sister, because she's been able to do things to me when I was trying to do things to her. I was trying to pull sadness out of her. She pulled it out of me. And I think I told you about it. But this year, we did this really cool exercise where we stared into each other's eyes. Said, "You want to try it? I think we should just try it. I like trying, interesting things like that. And she says, I know what's going to happen. You're going to see me. You're going to see exactly the pain I've gone through, and you're going to be all upset. And I'm like, does she want to try anyway? And she's like, yeah, okay. So we lie down under the bed and we're looking into each other's eyes. And I'm also generating energy to come up through to give her. And I just see her as, I'm like, oh no, she's this angel demon. Half of her is an angel and half of her is a demon. And very, very powerful. Is welcome and can be anywhere, but is not home anywhere. Like, does not have a place. She's not one or the other. But it's beautiful. And I'm like blown away. And she's like, I couldn't get through your wall. And I'm like, you have a massive set of armor in front of you that's so strong. And I said, oh, what did I do to put up a wall? I said, I tried to send energy. Could that energy in the wall? No, Geoff, you know you have a wall. And I said, okay, do you want to try again? And I'll try to bring down that wall. And so she starts to do it. And I physically, okay, internal energy on me, pull the wall down so she can peek in. And then I'm like, oh boy. And we get out of there, and I'm like, whoa. And she's like, yeah, whoa. And we're standing in her kitchen, and I'm like, I could see my biological father yelling at my biological mother in the womb, get rid of that child. I told you to, like, this, and this rage starts coming over me. And then I get really, really scared because I'm at like, Ray. And she goes, you're probably a lot like him, and flips me out into the baby, into him, into his mind. And I see the pressure that his family was putting on him, that this was a disgrace for the time that it wasn't going to happen. He's getting kicked out of the family, no inheritance if you can't get rid of that child. And thank goodness my biological mother decided to have me and put me up for adoption. But then I was in an incubator for 6 weeks. And so it was really interesting when I did my degree in psychology, but I really did it because I was like, well, I do weird stuff. Like, all my relationships were about 18 months long. Well, that was how long I knew my first adopted father before he died. And so all my relationships were about that. The only way I could actually get through that was to actually kind of break up for a day and then come back and say sorry and get it done. It's just weird and have another 18 months. But being able in that moment, and you have to be in the right place to like shiver, like I was like, what the, like, to feel the rage, the fear, and you're also him too. You're also your biological dad, right? Like, it's just like, and she's like, and I was just like, oh, and then you're just like, wow, what a moment. And uh, I know why I'm premature. I decided to be premature. I felt scared, so I had to get out of there, right? And I also had moments, of great gratitude where I forgave, and I honored my biological mother, and I did that to my father as well. But I never experienced that first trauma because my core trauma is rejection. That's why, and now whenever I do anything, it's a very low level of rejection. So I tried, but it was interesting because we were talking about that, and because rejection was my primary trauma, right? You get rid of him in vitro, right? And so you see that it starts to lose its power. But one of the other things that Jody said to me, she said, "Stop being so sarcastic. You should be classy. You're sarcastic in a way that doesn't make sense." I said, "I have a gift of sarcasm. I am amazing, and what I'm doing is I'm defending with sarcasm before I let in. What am I doing? You're actually throwing rejection out to the world, rejecting all these people with your sarcasm.
Right.
You are the perpetrator of your greatest trauma every single day with the thing you're doing to protect yourself." She said, "Stop it." She didn't say that. I had to figure that myself. And I'm like, be classy. Be nice. Say something different than the other thing you've done. And I remember both her and my mom my mom could talk, were yelling at me about not setting the table right. Like, I didn't have the fork or the knife on the right side. And they were just like, they're going off at me. And it was kind of funny. And I was about to say something sarcastic. And I just turned to them and I said, you know what? the nicest thing I've ever heard you two say to me at the exact same time. Thank you. And I turned away, and their faces were all like, where? Like it threw a wrench into the machine because they wanted to have a fight.
So
And
speaking
it
of
was,
that, you go out on a gratitude walk every morning.
oh, yeah, every morning, when I don't do it, my day is shot. Yeah, it's a very special practice to me. It's sacred. Usually it's with Happy, my dog, which
Yes.
makes it even better. But I move my body as well. Um, how does this tie into what I was talking about? Well, let me just show it to you real quickly. I do this 3 times as I walk through. The powerful part is experiencing the emotion. So I'm grateful for and I attract even more love, so I may share it with you. Then 3 times, I am love, I am love, I am love. Then today I'll have an experience of love of which I've never known before. I'll be so excited about today. And that experience of love will feel like a hug from a loved family member or a kiss from a surprise kiss from a cute girl. Then I'll do that 3 times as I'm walking, usually barefoot, connecting with Mama Gaia. The next one is I'm grateful for, and I attract even more peace and balance. So I may share it with you. I am peace and balance. I am peace and balance. I am peace and balance. Today I'll have experiences of peace and balance of which I've never known before, and I'll be so excited about today. And that peace and balance will feel like, and I bring in the spontaneously of the moment, like a calm ocean, or being the eye, as this is a storm swirls around me. I am the calmness of the eye in the storm. Then I'll go, I am grateful for, and I attract even more money and wealth in avalanches of abundance. So I may share it with you. I am money and wealth in avalanches of abundance. Money and wealth in avalanches of abundance. And money and wealth. Today I'll have experiences of money and wealth in avalanches of abundance of which I've never known before. And they will feel like I've felt before when I've got $20,000, $30,000 checks, when I've got this money in, and it allows me to fix things that need fixing. It allows me to create things that need to be created. And it allows me to take care of my friends, my family, and the community. And then the last one is I'm grateful for, and I attract even more infinite energy and miraculous healing. So I may share it with you. I am infinite energy and miraculous healing 3 times. And then today I'll have an experiences of infinite energy and miraculous healing of which I've never known before. And it will feel like energy shooting through all my chakras, not just to the Lord Himself or the Mama Gaia, but out to the people that I speak with sideways. And usually I have water or coffee when I'm drinking that, and I imprint that onto it, and then I'll drink it. So be it, so be it, so be it after every time. And the practice of gratitude has instantly made me wealthy and rich beyond measure. And if we could leave on any type of um, point, it would be Sir John Templeton, billionaire way back in the 60s, 70s, was asked, what does it take to be wealthy? And he said, you really want to know? Yeah. I was like, live each day with an attitude of gratitude. He, I remember having so much money and feeling so empty inside when I was working at SAP. And I remember the day I was wearing a 3-piece suit. I was walking down the street, and there was a homeless guy in front of the 7-Eleven, always asking for money. And I'm walking by, I'm trying to figure out how to get this deal done. I'm losing it. I can't figure it out. And I'm in my 3-piece. I'm walking in the office. I got everything that I need. And I'm sitting there, and the guy goes, "Have a great day, man." And I look down at him, and I'm like, and I keep walking. I stop, and I go back, and I go, "Hey, man, can I ask you a question?" He's like, "Yeah." And he said, "Like, your life's probably pretty tough, right? You're homeless, right?" He goes, "Yeah, man, my life's tough." And I'd given him $20 and whatever you need. And I go, "Why are you so positive?" And he goes, "It's just easier, man." And I was blown away by that answer so much that I was like,
Yeah.
the positive mental mindset gives you the energy to do what you have to do what needs to be done. The negative side, we all get there. But that guy's life is way harder than mine. And I was pissed off and angry, having almost everything that anyone could ever want. And that guy, it started me on that path. And then forcing my mind for 4 years. I texted 5 or 6 of my friends every single day what I was grateful for about them to change my mind, to actually physically change my mind. And so I can't be. There are times when I can be angry and others, but when I wake up in the morning, I am automatically empowered and my superhero power to do what I can do and to live life to the best that I can best is the fact that I understand and am grateful for moments like this that we have here today, for moments that are outside, for the moments that are difficult that end up being great learnings. All of that stuff, it's all right in front of us. For the strangeness of my life, for the uniqueness of my life, and all those things as these incredible lessons. And so if I had a superhero power, I'd like to say it's storytelling, but it really comes from the fact that the greatest amount of energy you get to is in love and gratitude. Oh, and I have the tattoos on my back of the kanji characters. Thank you and love from Morimoto's book, who wrote Messages in Water. If you've seen What the Bleep Do We Know, he's in that where they freeze the crystals. And the message of love is beautiful in its frozen state. The message of hate is asymmetrical. It's like that. I put that tattoo in Mexico probably 20 years. And so I've always been searching for I've always been on the path of love and gratitude. And I think that the more and more people that join me on it, the better and better the world gets.
I agree.
Yeah, that's a great message. Christina, are we almost out of time?
We are almost out of time. Yeah.
What a great way to end the show.
That is a great way. Thank you so much, Geoff. It's been a pleasure having you on this show.
Christina, Bobby, you know what? I loved it. And with the energy that I've got from you guys today, I'm going to have a great day. But you stopped the rain from falling. The magic is here. We may be able to get some smokes and beer. I don't know, but it's.
Well, we are showstoppers for sure.
Yeah,
sometimes
we definitely are.
Today we can say we're weather stoppers.
Yeah.
There you go. You stopped the flood of stuff that we needed to stop happen. So I appreciate you. I love you guys. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and I look forward to further talking with you. And God bless.
Excellent. All right,
so
everyone,
much,
have a great day. Again, hit that subscribe button, share with your friends, hit the notification bell. Would help us get these messages out into the world. All right.
Take care, everyone. Thanks a lot for coming.